accountability of government and do this, that and that. What is the citizen doing in return in terms of his or her own responsibility? And he's particularly talking about a young student generation, especially in cities like Delhi, which is out on the street for any small excuse and is rubbishing government. I am not holding a flag for Dr. Manmohan Singh, but as an international economist, I am saying we are going through one of the toughest times in the global economy. We have survived. I'll keep seeing data, how we are surviving. Maybe he did it, maybe somebody else did it, maybe it's just objective law of economics, but something is being done. Give some credit. Don't undermine our own confidence. The Advaita says, how you self-image yourself is the basis on which you can look at your own future. If you are self-imaging yourself so badly, you cannot have a future. Point number one. Point number two, the question of responsibilities that Harish Kare wrote is a very serious issue. I've talked about Article 51A, and I've told Dr. Rangappa also, and I'm sure he'll do it. I've told our earlier Vice Chancellors. I have tried myself to put it in the Planning Commission window, but maybe my successor, Dr. Dilip Kumar, will do it. I'm sure Dr. Leelavati will do it. You go and read Article 51A, and then you realize what were the great people of this country who wrote the Constitution. The responsibilities of citizens, respect for women, respect for other cultures, respect for the environment written in not anthropocentric language, not written in the language that men are superior, but nature is superior. If everybody were to look at that, then maybe we won't have it. But this is like Amartya Sen says, we are an argumentative society and we love arguments. That should be right. But in Thailand, I made a point about three kinds of societies: argumentative societies, authoritarian societies, and consensual societies. Increasingly, Southeast Asian societies are moved from authoritarian societies to consensual societies. Whether you take South Korea, which went through Park Chung-hee, or Philippines, which went through Marcos. Ours is an endless argument. Somewhere we must say, let us agree. Let us have a consensus. And when you have a consensus, what a Korean activist told me when I was working there always comes to me. This is the most fantastic collection of Korean civil society. They collect something like $70,000 in a week or less than that through public contributions. It's called Participatory Society, People's Society for Participatory Democracy. And I asked them, how do you manage this? And he said, we first sit down and agree on what we don't agree. We sit and discuss and agree on what we don't agree. Once you have done that, then we say, let us now do things on all the things we agree upon. We have not come to that point. To that point, even though we are 61 years old, we are still behaving like school children, like adolescents. We're simply fighting. So this is my answer. There's a lot of work to be done, and that work will not be done by the state in an atmosphere of globalization where the market operates much more powerfully than the state. And when the market operates much more powerfully than the state, the point that Major General Vombatkare made, then society is the casualty. But what all our great economists have told us, especially the economic anthropologists, Karl Polanyi, great social transformation, great transformation. Take that book, keep it with you, keep it as your Bible. I want to teach it in the department, but we've been running on this daily routine. Brilliant. It's relevant for any society, particularly our society, to read it. And he says there are three major components of any society: state, market, and society. You don't elevate market to the level that the state is undermined and society collapses. This is the view where we are. So if we have to reinvigorate society, we have to do it in a manner not in opposition to the state alone. There may be moments of opposition, but quite often in cooperation with the state. For example, now in Karnataka, I'm hoping there will be cooperative possibilities that will emerge, discussions will emerge. And for that, I think these forums are important. People like Dr. Asadi should make this a monthly or a bi-monthly event where we can come together and discuss like this. One lecture won't solve a problem. So I have to take these long, bounded answers, but I hope you don't mind. Yes, Dr. Gopalappa. Mic on.
That's what my conclusion. Anyway, after having said that, I agree with Mr. Sudhir Ambedkar. That is, there is no model like any state, because each state they are competing to get into corporatization of anything, either agriculture industry or whatever it is, including West Bengal and Kerala. That is what unfortunate thing. Anyway, see. We had this laissez-faire policy, that is free trade policy, and we faced the great economic depression. But there were so many compulsions, especially like a kind of dictating terms by the international financial agencies or whatever it is to take care of the. We got into the thing because we need to take care of the balance of payment problems. See, today we have, I think about 80% of the commodities we have totally is free trade. Most probably another 15-20% only we are restricted. If this is the case, then when it is the question of what is that, how we are surviving, I don't know whether we are optimistic in that direction. We are surviving basically it is because of the foreign direct investment. Let us say that each day if there is outflow of foreign direct investment, immediately there is impact on the rupee value is devalued. So if that is the case, whatever the investment is taking place here, if it is repatriated, if it has to be repatriated, then where do we bring the money to give them back in case they are getting back? So these are the things. I don't know whether it is Amartya Sen's ideology or Bhagwati's ideology or Gujarat state, but these are the practical problems we are facing, and there should be some solution. And
Thank you, Dr. Gopalappa. I didn't want to say this, but definitely the last question is, it is Justice Jagdish Bhagwati's idea. Because Jagdish Bhagwati still believes that we should have far greater openness, even though, interestingly, after we have signed so many free trade agreements, those free trade agreements themselves are not being used by our own industries. And what should be openness, how much openness, there's a lot of literature on it. And also when we talk of openness, is it trade openness or investment openness? Because there's a mixture between that. And economic liberalization is not a panacea, as the famous book written by Stephen Maglin and Tariq Banuri wrote about it many years back. So the question first question you asked about foreign investments and money going back. It is a serious problem. But before that, one step backward. Why did we globalize? Did we globalize on the basis of our own choice, or were we forced to do it? That is, in economic literature, we ask, was it benign? Meaning, was it like in cancer? You have cancer cells you have cancer cells, all of us have. Most of them are benign, but when some of them become carcinogenic, it starts affecting the system. With the decision to open up, benign. It was not benign. As Dr. Gopalappa said, we had a serious debt crisis, and because of the debt crisis, we opened up. And it's very interesting, for some of you it might sound a repetition, Carla Hills, the Secretary of Trade of the Reagan administration, who forced the opening on this, Reagan and Thatcher opened the forced opening up of the world economy during the Uruguay round, WTO. She said, trade is the crowbar, debt is the crowbar with which we wrench open economies. Really, the analogy of a crowbar to wrench open the economy. So that's how we opened up. So it was not something we wanted to do. But my point is, we've opened up, we've integrated, and we need to see for our own benefit how much we can benefit, how much we can't benefit. Today, fortunately, what we are doing is we are shifting our balance from Europe and USA to the Southeast Asian countries and East Asian countries. So far, the record is good. I go a lot to Thailand. Thailand's and India's relationship have grown. So far, it's good. Overall, I was expecting this at any point in time, but they've been very generous with me.
Honestly, it's not the talk, sir. They're hostile.
So the point is that our first debt crisis was a crisis of sovereign debt, meaning countries that had borrowed which had to pay back. Today, the crisis is going to be private debt. That's how the Southeast economies went down. So more than foreign direct investment, the private debt, particularly of our own companies, is going to bring us down. And the rupee value going down is not so much because FDIs didn't come up. It had to do with the US federal policy. That's another argument. But also because the private debt has been growing. If private debt grows up, then there are implications. Private debt, both foreign debt and internal debt. You know our famous industrialist from the state, he won't appear before the High Court. So High Court says, please come, you are in debt. So this is it. But these are issues that I think the students can very profitably, usefully discuss and find out the classes of development economics of Leelavati, of Navita, and Mahesh, Mahendra Kumar, Gopalappa, all of them, how they beautifully gel with the problems they are facing. Thank you very much.